Good morning, home. This morning, our project is to clean up our padlock that we found up in the hydraulic pit. Now, the method I'm going to be using on this is I'm going to clean it with electrolysis. I like the electrolysis because it's quick, it's easy. If you use a wire brush and a mechanical method, you have a tendency to tear the item up a little more than you would with electrolysis. So let me show you the stuff we're gonna need to do this process. It's fairly quick, easy, and inexpensive. Okay, here we have the items we're gonna need. A container. Now I like to keep the container as small as I can so we don't have to mix up a bunch of liquid that that's not necessary. Like I wouldn't fill a 5-gallon bucket just to do this lock. You're going to need a power source, battery charger. The old battery chargers work better than the new ones because the new ones have a lot of electronics in it and all that. Do you want something that just puts out amperage or not? You got your item. You're going to need some wire to hang the item and something, you know, just a stick or something to hang it from. You got to have a grounding plate. You can use most anything. I prefer stainless. An old stainless spoon works. There's something for your grounding plate. And then you're going to need your material to turn your water into electrolyte. We got washing soda here, salt, and lemon juice, and I'll explain those to you, the difference between them. And then we'll get going. Now, when you're working with electrolysis, you have to make your water so it will conduct electricity a lot better. And the washing soda will accomplish that. Now, if you have an item that's just a flat item, there's no parts to it, or you know, like if we wanted to clean a horseshoe, you can use just plain old salt because you can rinse your item off after you're done. Now, if you have an item that's real delicate or it's in fairly good shape and you just want to clean it up a little bit and you don't want any residue in there, like, you know, a coin, or like if this lock was in better shape or something like that, then I would use lemon juice. It works. It takes a little longer, but it's not as aggressive, and when you clean it up, you can clean it all up. It leaves no residue that will continue to erode your item. Okay, what we're going to do right now is let's mix up our basically our electrolytes, what we're going to create. Okay, now I've taken the lock and just basically gave it a good cleaning. Just, you know, put it in soap and water and scrub it off. And then around the top here, we want to try to clean it so we can put a grounding strap on that. You know, ideally you want that down to the metal. So, you know, it may take a couple of tries. I don't like to disturb it any more than I have to. So we'll try it with it the way it is. Okay, now that we got all basically the dirt washed off the lock, we got to get our water ready. Now, normally I put, I don't know, around a half a cup of the washing soda in like a 5-gallon bucket. So, you know, I'm using a lot smaller amount because we only got a couple of gallons of water here. So what I'm going to do, we'll pour this in, let it dissolve while we get our hanger ready. Now we'll just stir that up until it's completely dissolved. And before I forget, I got to go over the "this is going to kill you" part. Now this is actually pretty safe, but the electrolysis process, it does give off a gas. Depending on what you're using as a ground rod, the material you're using, like if you use salt, and it does give off a chlorine gas. So basically, do this outside. You know, nothing involved here is deadly, but it can be if you do it indoors. You know, different metals give off different gases. Some are poisonous, some are combustible. So it's just do it outside. That way you don't have to worry about it. Okay, now let's hang our lock. Okay, now, like I was saying earlier, you want to have some metal showing here. I don't like to grind it or anything that will take away from it. So basically, we're gonna tie it on, and then we'll try it. If it's not working good, we'll clean it a little more. But basically, I like to clean the attachment the least amount I have to. Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to wrap our grounding strap around here. And we want to get it on there good and tight. Okay. Then from there, we got our piece of wood. We're going to wrap this around our piece of wood. And then leave this end sticking up, because this is what we're going to attach our clip to. We're ready to go in the water. Okay, there's a couple of things here we want to be careful of. Now, we want to make sure we do not get our clips into the water, because it will destroy them. So you want to keep all your attachments, all these, you know, your alligator clips, you want to keep them out of the liquid, because if they get into liquid, it'll eat them up. The other thing is you want to make sure they don't touch each other. And same thing, once you put the items in the bowl, you want to make sure they're separate. Now, your grounding plate and your item, your electrons are going to go from your item to the grounding plate. So if I have a grounding plate on one side, it's going to have a tendency to clean this side first. You can put two of these, one on each side if you want, and just hook them together with an alligator clip. Or you just got to periodically turn your item around, different angles. Just be aware that the fact that the side closest to the grounding plate is going to clean quicker. We'll drop our lock in the water. Now I purposely left the water low so I can mix it without it splashing out. So what we do now is we just take clear water and we'll go ahead and fill this thing up until our lock is completely underwater. Okay, I had to switch over to a new grounding plate because this one was just too big and heavy. So we're going to use a small piece of tubing. Now we want to put our positive clamp on our grounding plate. Put that in the water, make sure the clamp isn't in the water. Then we'll take our negative and we'll hook that to our wire or our item. And you can see right here, I'll zoom in on that, and you can see that it's bubbling. Now this bubbling shows us that it's working. The problem is we're not getting any bubbles off of our item, which tells me that we don't have a good ground. So we'll pull that out, we'll clean that off a little bit and try it again. Okay, now I don't know if you can see it, but off to the side you can see coming off the lock, there's a little bubble every now and then. So we've now made contact. Well, now we basically just wait. Now the amount of time it takes will depend a lot upon your power source, how bad the item is. If you have something like a coin that you just want to clean it up a little bit, you know, you're only talking a few minutes, to something that's as bad as this lock, it could take a couple days. So it doesn't hurt anything if you want to check it. If you pull it out, rinse it off, take a look at it. If it's not as nice as you want it, then you just put it back in and continue on. And so, you know, you just basically let it sit in there until it gets to the point where you like it. Well, it's been about, I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes. And you can see the water has changed color. And let me zoom in here a little bit. And you can see that that lock's working pretty good now. Okay, we'll come back and check on it in a bit. It is now the next morning. I've left this in overnight because it's pretty bad shape, and I switched back over to the larger grounding strap so I get a little more current. I wasn't getting enough current with the little tiny one. And let me show you here the process that we've made overnight. Now you can see here that we've got quite a bit darker material. You can see right here we got quite a bit of buildup on the grounding plate. And then another thing I wanted to show you was my clip here. I allowed that clip to drop in the water for just a few minutes, and it didn't do it a bit of good. So that's why I say you want to make sure your clips don't get in the water. Now I wanted to give you a shot of the bowl. I don't know if you can see this line, but there's quite a bit of sediment in the bottom of that bowl now. I'm going to pull this out and give it a quick cleaning. All you do is pull it out and hit it with a brush, not a wire brush, just any brush. Just clean it off, and it'll give you an idea of how far the process has gone. We'll do that, and if it's not good enough, we'll throw her back in. Okay, now you can see here that it is quite a bit cleaner than it was. You can actually start seeing the details of the lock now. So I think we're going to put it back in there just for a little bit longer. We still got a little bit up in here I want to get clean. Okay, now I'm going to let this go for maybe another hour or so. When I put it back in, I reversed it 180. I've done that a couple of times now, so we get both sides, get the flow is pretty much equal. So we're real close, but I want to give it a little bit longer. Okay, well, it looks like we might be all done, because you can tell that the water has cleared up quite a bit, and you can clearly see the layer of sediment on the bottom now. Okay, well now I'm going to pull that out of the water, and we'll give it a good quick washing, and then after we're done, we'll let it dry. And then you got to, give it either a coat of oil or wax or something to keep it from starting to rust again or rusting any further. What I like to do is a lot of my stuff I'll put linseed oil on them. So let's pull that thing out of the water and take a look at it. The first thing I want to show you here is this grounding plate. You can see all the stuff that is built up onto this plate. Now this stuff will just wipe off the plate. Just clean that up and it's good for the next usage. Then we'll pull our lock out. And we'll take that and give it a scrubbing, but it looks like it's pretty good shape now. Now you can see here that the thing has cleaned up pretty nice. Now you can see where I cleaned it off to put the ground strap on it. And you can see why I don't like to do that, because that is different. You lose the patina of the lock itself. So that's why I don't like to do the mechanical grind any more than you absolutely have to. Okay, so now we'll take this and we're just going to leave this out in the sun and let it dry, because we want to get the inside, we want it completely dry. And then once it's dry, we'll take it, give it a coat of linseed oil, and see how she looks when it's all done. Now as far as cleaning up your work area, your grounding plate, if you use stainless, you just wash it off and it's good to go on the next one. The material that's into the bottom of the bowl is just dirt and rust. There's nothing toxic in here. You can pour the water in the lawn, it doesn't matter. What I like to do is I pour off the water, I let the what's remaining dry out, and then I just throw that in the garbage and wash everything up, and you're good for the next lap. Okay, well, the first thing I got to do is apologize for some of the focus on the videos. When I'm filming, I can't see that monitor that well, old guy, bad eyes thing. And with a project like this, I can't go back and refilm it because, you can't undo what's done. I'm going to go ahead and give you a side-by-side picture. I got in a little too big of a hurry and didn't take a very good picture of the lock before I started this process. So I just had to grab a picture out of the video, but it'll give you an idea of the before and after. Our lock, we now have us a nice piece to display, and once you get all that stuff off, you can actually see how they built them, and it just makes it a much more interesting piece. Now, one thing I wanted to show you, and one of my previous videos, I dug up a large copper item. I'm not really sure what it was, but it's a pretty good sized hunk of copper, some type of a pan. And I have since hammered that item out, and I don't know where to put it in a video, so I'm going to stick it in this one and just show you guys what it ended up looking like. And I'm beginning to think it was something they used either for cooking, or I'm thinking more of heating water, but let me show you this. Okay, this is basically the shape, more or less the shape it was. The bottom here has been darkened, so I gave it a very, very light sandblasting, just enough to take the dirt off, because I didn't want to destroy how it was used. I'm trying to figure out what they used it for. But you can see that this is darkened. They applied heat to this, and then in this hem all the way around, they've had mild steel hemmed in here. So it had some type of sides or something on it. But wouldn't you love to know the history behind this? But now, I don't know what to do with it. I guess I just put it with the rest of the stuff. Okay, well, if you enjoyed the video and you're not a subscriber, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and while you're at it, hit the like button. I think it helps. That's what everybody says, and so I don't know. Okay, well, that's pretty much it for this one. And hopefully I'm going to be doing one on how to clean up painted items. Mainly how to clean up old beer cans and stuff like that. And I got to go find an old beer can first. So until then, you have a wonderful day.